All right. Good evening, everyone. I now call the Sherborn Board of Health to order here on December 17th, 2025 at 7 o'clock p.m. This will be our last meeting of 2025. This is a virtual meeting and board members are required to announce their presence. We shall do so in our usual way, which is alphabetical roll call.
Daryl Beardsley, present.
Steve Constantine, present.
Julie Dreyfus, present.
Diana Hook, present.
And I do not see Rebecca present. Sarah, please interrupt us if she joins so we can acknowledge that she is here.
Will do.
Thank you. Do we have any items that have come up in the last 48 hours that need to be added to the agenda and cannot wait until our next meeting in January?
I don't know of any.
Sarah or Mark, any emergent issues?
None for me.
Okay. I'm hearing nothing from Mark. All right, then the agenda.
That is correct. None for me. I'm sorry.
That's good. No emergencies are good. So the agenda will stand as posted. We do not have any scheduled appointments this evening, no hearings. We do have a number of housekeeping items, including permits to be approved for the coming year. We have a couple of items under chair's business and one item under the agent's business. Our standard practice is we try to take folks as they enter the room first in that order. Mark, I am not familiar with the names of the folks who might be attending for either 54 Spywood or 155 Maple. If you could help me here, if any of these.
Yeah, I am not familiar either, but they could be here. I think maybe on 55 Spywood, if the people are representing that, they're welcome to, if that's okay, to announce who they are.
If anyone is here for 54 Spywood, can you please either announce yourself, raise your hand, somehow indicate to us that you are here for that issue?
Hi, we're here for that issue. We're the potential buyers of the property. I'm Rachel Roy, and this is Tyson Roy. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And I see we have Chris is here, our building inspector, I believe, for that issue as well. And do we have anyone representing the current property owner, the seller?
I don't believe they're on yet. This is Peter Bolin. I'm the buyer's agent on 54 Spywood.
Peter, are they planning to attend?
Yes, I believe so. I'll send them a message.
We can, if they're planning to attend, we're happy to give them a few minutes and we can take another issue to buy them a couple of minutes. We don't like to start without people if they're coming. All right, so why don't we put 54 Spywood on hold for just a few minutes. Mark, let's go to 155 Maple Street. Is the property owner for that?
I don't believe they're here, but they did know we were going to continue the discussion. I called them after our last meeting to explain that the board was in the process of requiring the actual. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just having a little trouble with my computer tonight. But they knew that it would be discussed. I spoke to the Title V inspector. We do have that Title V report available. It should be with your documents. And I am just, there it is there, thank you. And with that noted, it is a failure. I talked to the Title V inspector and he explained there's no one here for this, is there? I don't know if someone did show up. I don't know if the owner's here. I guess not. Anyways, it failed, and there's evidence of groundwater being in the what probably might have been a cesspool, and then they added a septic tank to it. So they purchased the house May of 2024. So I was going to send them notice that they have until May of 2020, this May of 2026, to complete the repair, do the soil testing, and design a new septic system. And then if they so wish, they could be invited back to the meeting if they have any questions or would ask for maybe an extension. But it can be done. You know, if they get the soil testing request in, say in March, that's a good time to do it. They possibly could have the system at least started by May. And I would suggest that if they start the system by May, that would be following within that 2-year requirement, the at least good faith effort. So that's what my plan was, but I wanted to share the Title V report with the Board of Health first.
Thank you for following up on that, Mark. It's nice that they got this in before the December 31st deadline.
Yes.
Unfortunately for them, they have a failed system.
Yeah.
So, Mark, just to be clear, are you looking for a motion of the board tonight, or this is an update on the status of that since we discussed it at our last meeting?
And as you noted, they satisfied the board's request to have a Title V inspection in by the end of this month, and they have. I think the next opportunity for them is to drop, if they so wish, to be at the Board of Health meeting, but I will send them notice that they have to have the septic system repaired by May 2026. And if they have any questions on that date, I can help guide them and offer them to seek the board's review. If they, I think they may have to seek DEP's review too, because DEP is the authority, as well as the Board of Health, to make sure that septic systems are updated within 2 years of the failure, 2 years of the sale date, actually. So, you know, they may be confused that they might think 2 years from the date of this inspection, which was yesterday. Date of inspection 12/8, I'm sorry, last week. But, you know, I'll start with the calling them first and then sending them something as a follow-up in writing. And if they so wish to meet with the board, that is an opportunity. And I'm sure the board would be glad to entertain any information that they would like to provide.
Before we continue, I think that Rebecca may have just joined. Rebecca, if you did just join, could you just announce yourself, unless this is somebody else?
Yes, hi, this is Dr. Rebecca Honeywell. I am present and thank you.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that was you and not somebody for a different property.
Yes, this is me.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Rebecca. All right, Mark. And so in the interim, you're going to contact the owner and
Yes.
guide them in the process. Typically, it's the first time people put in septic systems, and so they need assistance going through the process.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for following up on this.
You're welcome.
I think that covers this topic.
Yeah.
All right. I think that.
Oh.
Go ahead, Steve.
I just had a question for Mark.
Oh, of course, please.
So just reading the report, it looks like it's been pumped out like 4 times over the past year. I'm not sure what has to be done between now and May before the new septic is put in. Is there a recommendation that additional pumping be done, or what needs to be done to try to?
And that's a good point, Steve. If they're up to 4, they would have to repair it anyways, per the state code, 4 times per year, that is. With that said, they bought the house in May of 2024, so that's why I want to make sure they understand their deadline to have the system started at least would be May of 2026.
Okay.
And to continue to pump if needed. It could be that, and the groundwater is getting recharged as we speak, because the leaves are off the trees and we're getting precipitation. So they will need to pump as needed, and that will be also noted to them until it's repaired, and the deadline of May 2026 will be noted also. But yes, that will be noted that if it backs into the house or any above ground sewage, and speaking with the Title V inspector, he noted there was no above ground sewage. I don't know if he got in the house, but if either one of those occur, they will obviously need to pump. And at one point, the house was occupied by one person. I believe there may be more than one person living there now, and that may be another indication of the system being overused. So that will also be noted to them.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Mark.
You're welcome, Steve.
All right. Do we now have everyone here for 54 Spywood, the discussion of the building permit? If the current owners can just announce themselves so
Hi,
we can identify
my
who
name
it
is Reginaldo Oliveira.
Hi, good night. My name is Camilla Marino.
Thank you for having us at the
Yeah,
meeting.
thank you. We logged in, had a little issue, and logged back. So I think we missed the
beginning.
introduction.
Yeah.
That's okay. We could take something else in the intro, no problem.
All right.
All right. And do we still have the prospective buyers?
Yes, we're still here
Yep.
too.
Oh, you're still here. Okay, I'm sorry. People are
Yeah.
dropping off of my screen. Okay. Mark, did you want to start by introducing this, or did you want me to introduce this? What would you prefer? Oh, hang on, Mark, you're muted.
I'm sorry about that. I do that too often. I could say that we have some notes that were populated on what occurred there in the building process. They originally came in for renovate. There they are there, and they originally came in and they were informed that the present house had 5 bedrooms and they were only allowed, and I don't have all my notes in front of me on this, but they were allowed to have up to 9 rooms, and you'll see as you read through it, they decided, well, I can't say what they decided to do, but they were to remove a room on the first floor that was a bedroom. They were planning to turn that into an office. In the basement, there was a wet bar, not a full kitchen, and they were going to combine to make that one room area. If I can recall, I don't have the plan right in front of me, but there we go. And met White open it up, and so that the house could be back to where it should have been. And then they were planning to, I believe, renovate the basement. So it would be no more than 9 rooms, 4 bedrooms.
And there was also a wall that was going to come out in the on the
Yes.
first floor,
The living room.
towards the back.
Right.
Half wall.
And I can't remember if the board saw this or not. I believe you may have.
So my notes here is that there was a building application filed for 54 Spywood in March of 2024. At the time, our agent, that would be you, Mark, denied it
Yes.
because it is a 4-bedroom system, which you are allowed 9 rooms under State Title V. The house, as it was existing, had 5 bedrooms and between 10 or 11 rooms, depending on how they were counted. That included 4 bedrooms on the second floor and 1 bedroom on the first floor, for a total of 5, maybe 6 rooms on the first floor. Existing in the basement was 1 large finished room that had some type of cabinetry existing in it, I believe.
That is correct.
The permit, there was a request under that permit for a full bathroom in the basement and to create a second basement room. The board reviewed the plan at the April 3rd, 2024 meeting. The revised, at the time, the board was trying to work with the owner in order to get this home down to the 4 bedrooms, 9 rooms that are required under Title V for the design flow of their septic system. In that discussion, the board asked that the half wall in the living room be removed and that the steps be continued across the room so that you have kind of a step down into the living room, making it 1 large room. We asked that the walk-in closet only be accessible via the primary bedroom, creating a bedroom suite. And we also asked that the basement only include a half bedroom and 1 finished room, indicating there was not to be 2 rooms finished in that space, and that the kitchen be left as a wet bar. My
Yes.
understanding, based on, and we can get to Chris if you would like to clarify, is that the house as it stands based on Chris's inspection is that for the first and second floor, the plans that were submitted and approved were in fact installed correct, or were in fact renovated as according to plan. It is the basement space that we are referring to this evening. In the basement space, what is existing as of today, I don't know if we have a drawing of that, Sarah, is that there is a half bath as indicated in the permit. In the wet bar, there is now a cooktop and a microwave, so additional cooking elements have been added. And in addition, and maybe Sarah, you can just take your cursor. Sarah, are you familiar with where the case opening and the French doors are? Since I think that's Sarah with the cursor.
Yes,
Yeah.
sorry. I was trying to find
To the
new
left of the stairwell.
sketch for you.
Sure, if that would be helpful.
But these
But in the
doors right
basement,
here.
there has been a cased opening with 6 foot wide French doors that have been added to create a second room in that space. And so I believe tonight I'd like to go to the present owner to understand what your question is for the board this evening.
I was talking to Chris the last time on the inspection. Supposed to be a big gray room here. So we put two double glass door here to separate here to do like a yoga room, studio, gym. And Chris say that's gonna count like another room. Um, and I was thinking if you put two glass doors, it's not gonna be count like another bedroom or something like that, because it's open. You can see through, so that's why we put two double glass door there.
I have a
So
question.
the
It says
question
neck
is,
room.
I'm sorry?
Is that, it says,
That's not the mechanical. No, that's
No, the mechanicals is on unfinished basement area right there on the back.
okay,
Yes.
all right. So that should be relabeled, one, but that is a room.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Sarah.
like where you draw right there, we have a small little hallway on the front, the half bathroom, and we close and put, yes, right there, like upstairs on the top draw. You can see we have a little half wall, and we turn to put the two double glass door over there. That's what we did.
So similar to the drawing on the first floor, where there's like the little hallway with the,
Yeah, yes,
yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly is right. And the first draw, it's what we have in there right now. So Chris suggests to this remove these two doors, to these two doors, and put a half wall in the front of the half bathroom to make a big space. But we like to keep the two glass door over there. It's not a bedroom. It's not count like a bedroom. It's just like a studio or something.
If I may chime in, I have done a lot of research and kind of went through the Board of Health's old minutes to just understand how you guys view it. And you know, our preference is to keep the glass doors as well if we can. And the room doesn't have any windows and there's no egress. So I was just looking at you know, the minutes from November 5th of this year, and it looks like it is okay to have a room in a basement. It doesn't count as a room for purposes of septic if it doesn't have windows or egress. So I just wanted to flag that for the board as well as a fact.
Yeah.
And to follow up with that, Miss Roy, yes, and this room, as it has been created with these double doors, opens into a finished space that walks out to grade. I believe there are two. There's a sliding door that walks out directly to grade. Nope. Sarah, go further. Yep, thank you.
Yeah, that's go to the patio. That's the slide door, go to the pool area.
Right. And
Yeah.
so that is a critical difference. So oftentimes when we deed record a room, it is not walking directly out to daylight. Per our regulations, it cannot be connected to a full bath because being connected directly into a full bath makes it a bedroom.
Yeah.
And in this case, the glass doors are opening directly into this great room that then walks out. And so I think what I'm hearing the question is again, there are two rooms here. There are doors creating a room. and that will put the house above the 9 rooms required under Title V. And so I think the question is, can we deed record this room that had been created that previously the board had determined to not be allowed, right? If the board now feels comfortable deed recording that space. And so I think we need to go around to the board members, and I will start. I think for me, if this room that had been created with these glass doors was opening into a room that had no egress, did not walk out to daylight, did not have what is functionally a kitchenette as it is now instead of a wet bar, then that would be a consideration. But given that this does provide egress in its totality, this does not read to me like a room that would be consistent with how the board has deed recorded in the past. Given that this has been presented, what was actually built was presented to the board back in April of 2024. The board did not offer to have this be a deed recorded room. We very clearly instructed that this remain one open space. It is not under my determination that it would make sense to go against the board's determination then, because there's nothing that has changed. That's my inclination. I'd like to go to each board member to see what questions they have and what their position is on the deed recording. Who would like to go first? No one's raising their hands fast. Daryl, I'm going to call on you.
Yep, fine. So an issue I have is that for me, I'm going to skip over that room at the moment. Other than to note that Title V looks at bedrooms, but it also has a formula for number of rooms divided by 2 and rounded down. So it's problematic whether it's a bedroom or not. It's just the number of rooms is an issue. So that's part of what we're wrestling with. The fact that it's not a bedroom is not the only issue. So the kitchen, what was going to be, the wet bar sort of arrangement, now that it looks more like a kitchen, it starts to look like something we see in other homes where there's a kitchen area, and then there's the, maybe a seating area as part of a big open space. And we look at function too as a way to divide up rooms, because otherwise there could be some more modern homes in town that have a couple of rooms in a way on the first floor by being open. So we do look at functional areas. And by having that have more features than the last time we looked at it, that almost makes this great room 2 rooms, a kitchen and then the great room. So I'm wrestling a bit more with that. And Mark, as far as having a room in the basement with no windows, I recall for, I believe, units at the Abbey Road development that there was some issue at one, I think it was Abbey Road, could have been somewhere else, but where there were basement rooms that people were setting up as a workshop, no windows, but they were finishing the space. I don't recall if there was a walkout at the other end. I know some of the units at Abbey Road had some walkout, or the garage is in the basement area, and that would provide egress. So that, I don't know if you recall, Mark.
I didn't get involved with Abbey Road, but I believe we reviewed 59 North Main Street for one room in the basement that was going up a set of stairs. It was a little different from this one having sliding doors. It was like a half stairway going up to the outside. But I'm not familiar with the Abbey Road reviews.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
I forgot that.
No, that's okay.
Right, Daryl. I
And
think.
yeah. Okay, now that I see this better drawing with those glass doors, that's, yeah. Very close.
Sorry, I just
that makes
saw
it a separate room. That's a separate room. That's 2 rooms even without counting the kitchen as another functional area.
And so, Daryl, you count this as 2 rooms, and the question of what's currently labeled here is the game room or gym. Would you feel comfortable leaving or deed recording that, or would you require that the doors and potentially the cased opening be removed? What would make that not a room for you? A deed recording or an alteration?
Well, the alteration would be easy. I would want to just double check on whether we've had something with the kind of egress that this has from the basement.
Okay. Well, let's go to any other board member want to go next?
Sure, I can talk.
Steve, go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, just looking at this and the changes, I guess the 6 foot wide glass doors, I'm having a hard time understanding how that's actually separating the rooms. I mean, to me, it seems like it's all one room, the game room and the great room. I I'm not sure what purpose the glass doors are actually serving. So if we look at it as one room and then you've got the kitchen, then you've got 2 rooms. Is that the way we want to look at it?
The house needs to remain under 9 rooms.
Right.
The board had approved this permit to have 9 rooms with the basement space having a half bath and 1 large open finished room.
Right.
What we have here at current day is it's labeled 6 foot wide glass doors with a cased opening, creating what is labeled here as a game room and gym. That makes 10 rooms on a 4-bedroom system.
Right.
And maybe
I think
11, depending on the kitchenette, how we view that.
Yeah. And maybe that's why I'm having a hard time with it, because it just seems like if you eliminated those glass doors, you would have 1 room, the great room and the game room, correct?
That is how it was originally approved, just to have no cased opening or doors where there are currently.
And that would be without any deed recording.
Right, because then that would be the board in April of 2024 called that 1 room, and therefore the house was in the 9-room limit.
Right. And that's, again, I keep looking at the glass doors. To me, it's still 1 room. So if you eliminate your glass doors, I think that's a solution. That's the one I'd be leaning towards.
So for you, remove the glass doors and the cased opening, leave or remove?
And
Do you
I'm
know what I
sorry,
mean by that? That there are I can't point because I don't have the cursor.
Yeah.
The walls that the doors are mounted to, would you leave that or would you remove that?
Well, Julie, what might be helpful is bringing up the plan of the original design showing the room as one. It didn't have the casings. There is a plan on our agenda information. There it is. That one there. Yep.
Right.
Sarah, thank you, Sarah's toggling through.
Thank you, Sarah.
That wall stops short.
It's just gonna
It was wide open pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's the way I'm looking at it. Again, I'm not sure the purpose of the glass doors.
Okay. Diana, would you like to go next?
Well, when I look at this plan, that looks like 1 room. With the glass doors and the extended wall, to me, it looks like 2 rooms. But I'd be curious as to what the purpose of the glass doors are. Is it a sound barrier? I mean, obviously, visually, you can still see in there.
And just so the board knows, Julie, I know you're entertaining information from the board members.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know, Chris has his hand up probably at the
I'm
end.
sorry, I did not see that.
Yeah.
So Diana had the question of what are the purpose of the glass doors? But Chris, do you know the answer to Diana's question?
I probably do. Yeah, hi. I think the intent from Reggie, the builder, owner was that by using glass doors, there's no privacy, right, between the rooms, and so therefore they sort of function as one space. Again, that's my guess. I kind of want to just back up a little bit, I guess, to sort of why are we here, right? We're trying to find a solution to something that, you know, didn't quite get built to what the plans were, and it seems like there are some options in front of us, whether it's making alterations to the building or whether it's looking at the deed recording as an option. And so I think, Sarah, if you can go to that document that I sent you, just so the board can kind of see this. So this plan that we're looking at here represents what was actually constructed. So we have a half bath, we have a kitchenette with, you know, full cooking appliances, a cooktop. We have the walls and the door separating those two spaces, right? Sarah, if you can go to the next page of that document. This was sort of the next version, right? Maybe you guys feel more comfortable with something like this with the deed restriction, where we revert the kitchenette back to a wet bar, right? No more cooking appliances. Now it's a great room with a wet bar and a 10th room that's the game room, and maybe that is something that the board would feel more comfortable about a deed restriction on. If we roll to the next page, Sarah. Sorry, yep. So this would be sort of the next phase of that. Keep the kitchenette aspect, but open up the opening between the two rooms. You know, remove the doors and replace it with a cased opening instead of the doors, so that you can't close the spaces off from each other, right? There's an option that maybe the board would be willing to think about. Sarah, if you can go one more page. And then this was the version, I think that, yes, this was the original version that the board approved, which was the wet bar, all wide open, great room, no walls at all. And so we're just trying to find sort of where that threshold would be. I mean, the board has had a history of issuing limited deed restrictions for a 10th room on a 4-bedroom system in a basement. Maybe this is one where we could apply that tool. Maybe it is not one. It's up to you guys. But if that's not on the table, we're sort of trying to gauge what would be potentially acceptable. And one of the things that I talked to Reggie about was maybe the board would accept, if we can go back up. Sorry, Sarah, if you can go back up a page. If these walls that were built that, you know, sort of frame out the separation between these spaces, if those were changed to like a half wall, right? So the top of the space is open, but the bottom still has the wall there. And the only reason that we're sort of talking about that is then he doesn't have to fix the whole floor or remove all the electrical outlets that are in that space, you know, but it really opens the space up between the two rooms. Anyway, that's kind of why we're having this conversation, is to see if there's any ability to find some kind of a path forward here for this. And obviously the buyers have, you know, seen the house and, you know, sort of agreed to buy the house based upon what is here now. So we're trying to get it as close to what they've agreed to purchase as we can get it for them. So hopefully that sort of gives you the context of why we're having this discussion.
Yes, thank you. We certainly enter into these discussions often, and what we're trying to make sure that we're doing is, one, treating things consistently between homes. And this, with the walkout, the significant walkout there, is just raising another question that I am trying to, we're trying to avoid slippery slopes of things snowballing and getting too far away from what even the Title V guidelines intend to be done. So deed recordings are not common in all towns. It is something that we have used, but we want to be cautious in that use. And so that's what we're wrestling with at the moment. I would say not having a cooktop and a sink and a refrigerator. Because right now, except for the fact that it's a half bath, that's coming close to looking like an in-law apartment. By having a living area and spaces. So kitchenette is, again, if we took this room and put it on the first floor, it would not be one room, it would be two rooms.
So going back to Diana, Diane, maybe that answered your question. Do you want to continue with your thoughts?
Oh, so it looks like it's sounding like the version that the board approved last year would be an expensive option, though that's the one I like the best. So another option, then you were saying, instead of totally removing the walls, would be to make them half walls so that the electric outlets are still there, but it just would open it up to be more of a one room. And I like the idea of
Correct.
returning
Correct.
the kitchen to more of the wet bar. Yeah. Interesting how uh, board results get interpreted, huh?
Um,
The
all
half
right.
walls also sound like a potential compromise. The opening and the half walls.
Okay, so for you, Daryl, removal of the
And the kitchen.
doors, half walls,
Or
and
wet-
reducing the kitchen so there are no cooking services, going back to the wet bar that had been approved.
Can
So
I make a
refrigeration.
comment? Can I make a comment?
I promise I'm coming to you, Rebecca.
Okay, sorry.
I'm trying to wrap up everyone's thoughts here so we have a full picture. So Daryl, did I capture that right? Removal of the doors, half wall
Yeah.
would be okay with you potentially? A half
Yes.
walls where the
and
case
the wet
opening
bar
is.
concept.
Okay. Rebecca, please go ahead.
Sorry. So I know that everyone here understands what the goal is, where we're trying to move forward. But just to put it back into context of what our job is to look at the public health issue. And I think that the state regulations and laws and things that we're supposed to be enforcing and following are looking at septic production, and those are the things that affect the groundwater, your drinking water well, the neighbors potentially, and maybe the town as a whole. So it looks like it would be to me, it would be a great place for an in-law suite or a nanny or something like that. And that would increase the septic capacity. Even with a clear wall, you could easily put up a curtain, just plug back in that cook plate and the microwave and the, whatever. So I'm not sure that from our perspective on the public health side of the discussion, if we accomplish that much by, you know, by this, because we're really stuck in that position that perhaps Daryl was referring to when she said a slippery slope, because really we were trying to do you a favor a year ago, to not require an increase in septic size and capacity, in order to, potentially save costs. That would be the solution, to get a bigger septic system, and then you can do whatever you want. But it's really hard for everybody involved to have to enforce things, and we're supposed to be doing things in good faith. And so we're trying to help, but it's tricky because we are also a little bit put in a position where we know that we have no control over what happens in the future. And the risk really has to do with what's happening with the sewage that's coming out of into your system, and that could potentially affect your own drinking water. So that's why we're having this conversation from the Board of Health. And so I am also, unfortunately, I agree, and I'm feeling the same way that both Daryl and Julie are about this particular situation. I think it's 2 rooms, both in effect and in function, as well as sort of as designed. And so, unfortunately, it kind of trips that threshold for me.
Thanks, Rebecca. So to clarify, and I just want to make sure I have a point correct. Chris, they are trying to close out their building permit. Is that correct?
Yes, we're trying to close the permit occupancy, and this obviously is a hindrance to being able to do that.
Right. Okay. And they're looking to have that closed out in order to then close the sale of the property.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. Just not sure if the rest of the board understood the sequence that was going on here. So Rebecca, I've had everyone kind of go through what they would need to see, what they need to see in order to be able to count this as one room and not a bedroom. So what would you need to see? We've been talking about the doors, the glass doors. We've been talking about the cased opening and whether or not that is removed, reduced to half wall. We've also been talking about the kitchenette space, if that needs to be modified. What would you need to see?
Well, unfortunately, I think it would need to be pretty close to what was approved a year ago for it to make me feel comfortable. And it's really because it's clear that it's a great space to increase people living there. And so that's the problem, because that's actually what we're supposed to be thinking about. And so I'm not sure that the glass doors accomplish anything, because, as I said before, you can put a curtain up, you can just plug back in that cooktop and plug back in that microwave, and it's a nice little place to live for a nanny, which ends up having more people, more sewage, etc., and effectively another bedroom. So I really think that I don't know. I mean, maybe not. I don't even know if a half wall, it depends on how it's designed, would avoid it sort of feeling like 2 rooms.
Okay.
So I'm sorry to say, but it just feels functionally like 2 rooms. And so and if we have to follow the rules, that makes it hard. And so I would say it would really need to be one big room with no walls and no kitchen. I don't know, but that's already done. So
in April of 2024, the board was okay with a wet bar that would be what is there minus the cooking appliances, the cooktop and the microwave.
right.
So I would say that is the kind of the baseline.
Yeah. And so I mean, I feel like maybe like the builder and the homeowner don't intend to, like, there's nobody with sort of a malintent. It's just that we are supposed to be enforcing our rules consistently with everyone, and the state gives these guidelines sort of as a proxy, because every situation is different, and we just have to try to look at it and make an assessment based on the information that we have in front of us. It's just this kind of is really, it's not even, to me, it's clear that this would be that it is becoming a very nice little suite down there. And I think it would, and from the Board of Health perspective, I'm not sure that you can avoid calling it a room. So, or 2 rooms.
Okay. Chris, clarifying question. Where it says 6-foot wide cased opening, and I see that the 2 little walls jutting out. just for context, how is that 2, 3 feet? I mean, 7 feet, how big is that to create the 6 foot wide opening where the doors are?
I think the whole space at that part of the room is maybe 10 or 11 feet wide. So if you take out the 6 feet for the door or the cased opening, you end up with, 2.5 feet on either side of the door, something like that, roughly. Reggie, does that sound about right to you? If you're still here?
Yeah, sounds right.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah, I'd say 30 inches, something like that.
okay. That for me is different than if it was 5 feet on each side.
Right.
For sure. All right, so what I've consistently heard from the board is that it seems like across everyone, removing these glass doors is necessary. I believe I've heard from each board member that they would want to see a reduction in the kitchenette to remove the cooktop and the microwave to return it to the previous wet bar that is a sink and a fridge. Am I right so far? Please, board members, speak up if I'm misrepresenting you. It sounds like the discussion point that we have is this, what we're calling the cased opening, these 2.5 foot wall segments that are currently supporting the glass doors, whether or not, I think I've heard everyone consistently say that those need to be modified in some fashion. It sounds like the debate is between whether or not it could be reduced to a half wall. And I suppose we should specify what that means, or if they need to be removed entirely. And it sounds like that would require a fair amount of work in terms of the flooring and the electrical. So why don't we focus in on that point for what we need to feel, the majority needs to feel comfortable in order to sign off on this.
So Julie, I think if we look at option 4, I think that shows kind of what we've been talking about. The only thing that's missing on this is that horizontal wall that goes in front of the half bath that we're talking about possibly turning into a half wall. Is that correct? I have that right?
If this is the plan that the board approved originally, so this was the sort of wide open original concept.
Right. What I'm saying is that horizontal wall, that extension that goes from the unfinished basement in front of the half bath that we had on option 3, we're saying that the wall that starts right at the half bath going across, that would be a half wall, correct?
Correct.
And
And we
how
would also-
high is a half wall?
Yeah, and also we would eliminate coming up from where the stairs are, the up and down at the bottom, that little piece of wall that's sticking up, that would be removed as well, correct?
Yes, I mean, I think, again, Reggie, you can confirm. I think there's some light switches that control. It would be a real pain to have to completely remove everything there because there's a lot of like switching locations for the lights as you come down the stairs.
Yeah.
So trying to retain some of that would be helpful, cost wise, I think.
Chris, you mean the segment of wall at the base of the stairs? Is that what you're
Correct.
referring to?
Right.
Yes, we have a switch to put the lights on and off right there.
Yeah.
So
So ideally, if a piece of that could stay for a light switch location, whether it's at a half wall height or a full wall height, and then the same thing goes the other side in front of the half bath there. Again, the tricky part is if you take the walls out, the flooring is cut around the walls. So then you have to take all the flooring out of the entire basement and relay it to fill in
Got
the
it.
spaces where the walls used to be. So if you can make it a half wall and put a little cap rail on top of it, you can relatively easily open the space up without having to like redo the entire flooring in the basement. So
Chris,
that's
would
kind
you
of why
like
we talked about that concept.
Chris, is it a 4 foot half
four
wall?
foot, 4 foot for half wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
That way we don't, like Chris say, we don't have to spend a lot of money to redo the entire basement floor. That is gonna be a lot of money to fix just because that if we remove that half wall, we cannot be able to patch that area. We have because this is a vinyl floor, so vinyl floor is on lock. So that way we have to remove everything and redo everything again. It's gonna cost us around $15,000 just to do that, labor and material. Plus the electrical part we have to disconnect in there, like a plug or something. So if you guys do let us do half wall, we pretty appreciate that.
How high is the ceiling in the space?
I believe it's a 8 foot.
It's an 8-foot ceiling.
Yeah,
It actually might be higher because I think the patio
it's a
door is
little
about
bit.
3 steps
It's
up.
8-10 inches or something
Yeah, it's
like
close
this.
to 9 feet. It's a high
Yeah,
ceiling, so you're going to have almost 4.5 feet of open space above the wall if it's a 4 foot high wall.
yeah.
All right, since that is I think the discussion point that we're talking about is, would a half wall suffice? And it sounds like, one of the considerations is here at the base of the stairs where Sarah has it labeled as light, that is roughly a 2.5 section, of wall that goes floor to ceiling. If that can remain so that the electrical stays, and that then the only piece that is being reduced to a half wall, again, glass doors removed, is, what is currently circled in the middle of the screen as half wall, 4 feet. That would be reduced, in fact, to that no taller than 4 foot high half wall. Okay, so I want to make sure we have a clear definition of what we're talking about. I'll start because I'm going to go back to the board because I think we're getting there. I think for me, I would be willing to certainly leave this small section of wall at the base of the stairs for the electrical. I think it's very important that you have lights when you enter a room. I think it's in fact code, and that portion of wall does not segment this space to the left of our page. It is the doors and then particularly the full wall that is between the game room, the great room, and the half bath that separates this for me into a second room. I would be okay with reducing that section to a half wall and, as we said, modifying the kitchenette space to a wet bar. And then it would be on the line, but I'd be comfortable calling that one room and consistent with what was originally approved. We'll go back in the same order. Daryl, where are you with the modifications?
Yes, that to me pretty much brings it back to what we had approved last year. And I appreciate that this is extra work to be done, and it's, unfortunate that we couldn't have had the conversation earlier, before the investments had been made, and now things are going to be undone. But it's, I know it may sound a little peculiar, but this is what dictates septic sizing around the country, is room counts and bedroom counts. And we're not looking only at how, an individual homeowner is going to be using the property, but what the potential is for use. And so that's what makes it a bit more of a challenge for us. So again, with the changes that are illustrated here now, that seems fine to me.
Okay. Steve, do you want to go next?
Sure. Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable. The only part that I'm still a little bit uncomfortable with is so that horizontal wall that's going to be a half wall. You're also going to have a little vertical wall there too. That's going to be a half wall. That seems a little awkward. But if they want to live with it that way, I guess that's fine.
You mean live with it versus having it flush to the floor?
Right, in the circle, that short wall that's going up and down that connects to the horizontal wall in front of the half bath. That's just, I mean, I'm trying to picture it. You'd have that half wall going across and that little short half wall. It just seems a little, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It just seems a little awkward.
Yeah,
Again,
I think,
it would be great if the floor patching wasn't such a nightmare to get rid of
Yeah,
it, but
I know, that's why I keep thinking of it,
that's
but
kind of the driving factor here.
yeah.
yeah.
And I think for us, Steve, we're trying to define what would be consistent with calling this one room, right?
Right, I understand.
And so if the buyers and current owner want to negotiate something that reduces this down to flush with the ground, that is up to them. We would certainly, that would pass muster with us,
Yeah.
but we're just trying to set the minimum.
Absolutely, I understand, I understand.
Diana, would you like to go next, please?
Yeah, no, I'd be fine with that half wall on both sides there, and yeah, the panel and things removed, the cooking panel removed.
Okay. And Rebecca?
Yeah, so I'm really sorry, but I don't agree. I think it's a wall, it's a room. It really is, and it's just they're, just as soon as we give them the building permit, they want a room. So they should just increase the septic capacity and make a room and make it nice and have a nice place to live and to use. That would be the best thing for the town as a whole, for the individual homeowners, for their own protecting their own drinking water, and to comply with state law. I'm really sorry, but they really should just make a room because that's what they want, and then just increase the septic capacities. That's my opinion.
That is certainly an option if they want to go and expand, if they want to see if they're able to expand their system to a 5-bedroom system. Given that neither the current owner or buyer has even suggested that, I suspect that is not where they're looking to go, particularly in the closing of the sale. But certainly if anyone here is eager to put in a septic system, raise your hand. You'll be the first. Okay.
We did have a couple people last year who wanted to do that.
Okay. They might be, they're one of the few.
They're in the minority, but it is true
Yeah.
that it benefits them and they potentially drinking water.
And it often gives you capacity to continue to modify your home as you need for your family. Yeah, it does. It gives you capacity. I agree.
Do we know the age of the current septic system?
Mark would have to answer that if he
I
knows.
believe 1970s, maybe even earlier than that. It's an older septic system.
Okay. And I'm only because we've had this for the last issue, we have a past Title V.
I'd have to
Yes.
look at that. I have not been involved with this the past week or two. I think Sarah and
Okay.
Chris were working on it. But I can draw the files out when I get back to the office and be glad to give you the age of the system and the size capacity.
Yeah, we passed on the Title V.
Okay.
When was that, if I may ask?
If I'm not wrong, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago.
Okay. Has it been submitted to the Board of Health?
Yes, we show Chris.
Okay. We haven't seen it. I haven't seen it at the Board of Health. There we go. Thank you, guys. So that will show the year of the septic system within a few of the pages down, and it will show, what the inspection entails. So if we can go down this report, we should be able to find the year of septic system. And you stop right there for a minute. See if they have it. They don't have it there. Sometimes they'll put the age there. Let's see if they have it in this page. Sometimes source of information. See, they got it from the homeowner, so not for sure if they know the age of the system. We can look back in our files to see, but I believe it's the 1970s. Sarah, do you know?
We have another one. I just have to pull it up.
Thank you.
One says it's from 1979.
79. I thought it was in the 70s. Yeah.
This inspection date is January 25th, 2023.
Yeah. So I
Yes.
don't think this is the more recent one then.
Yeah, this one was used for the building permit initially,
Yeah,
Right.
that's why
but
I don't have
there's
the
been
other
another
one.
one done. I don't think it's been submitted yet.
Oh, okay,
I
that's
can
why
look
I
for
haven't
it.
seen it either.
I believe it was
Um,
2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, so indeed, the house is limited to 4 bedrooms. They did get a generous allowance of a walk-in closet on the second floor, so there'll have to be, and I would suggest to the board that I be allowed a walkthrough And because it'd be nice to know on the Board of Health side of this, if indeed they did what was permitted. That includes the upstairs master bedroom having a walk-in closet almost as big as the bedroom, to make sure that is a walk-in closet. And that's very important. So I think the board should also, when you vote, declare that the health agent be allowed to do the inspection. I had spoken to Chris last week about doing an inspection. I said best bet would be to have pictures to show the board tonight, and there's no pictures. So unfortunately, I can't report to the board what's in there right now, but I think the board should make a decision that I be allowed to walk through the house to make sure that whatever was approved and decided by the board is inspected by their health agent. Thank you.
Do the current owners have any issues with allowing the agent in for inspection?
No.
Perfect, thank you.
I was
Sarah,
mentioned
it
with
looks like
Chris. I was mentioned with Chris to try to set up Mark to stop by before this meeting.
And I explained to Chris I wanted pictures for the board to see, and then after that,
That's
see what
fine.
the decision of the board was, then get your permission to go through the house.
Yep.
Thank
You
you.
have the permission, no problem.
Yeah. Do you have pictures?
I don't have pictures here.
I'd like to see some pictures delivered to the office in the
let
next
me
week. If you could take some pictures of the existing conditions, I think that's appropriate, as I've requested already, that those pictures be provided to our department so we can look at those on every room in that house. So I can see what's existing and what the board's voting on tonight. That would make it very helpful for me.
I have a pictures here.
Oh, okay, good. That's what we've been asking for, and I hadn't seen them since this
Mark,
meeting.
we gave you plans of the as-built
I have the
layout, so that's why
plans,
we
but
didn't do
the
pictures.
pictures speak 1,000 words.
I can confirm it was built the way that the
Oh,
first
and
and
I
second
trust
floor were
you,
built
Chris.
in.
It's not
Yeah.
that. It's just for the board to see the pictures makes all these discussions a lot easier.
so what was specified back in April of 2024 was the access to the walk-in closet in the primary be exclusively through the primary bedroom and not off of a hallway. And that the living room, which I believe has 2 steps down to a second area, that the half wall there be removed and the steps be continued across the length of that room.
And that's what they're doing. They took an open space on the second floor that was open to the lower level. If you want to go to that second level, then while we're discussing it, you'll see what was allowed. But it is a quite large walk-in closet, so I didn't know if the board wanted to put any restrictions on that while it's still a 4-bedroom septic system.
I had recollection that
Oh, we have the
ceiling
plan
height
here.
in that walk-in closet wasn't full height across the entire area.
Well, if we can get to that page, Darrell, that would help us to see what was existing. And they did a great job. Chris, you are right. They have good plans and they did a nice job on the plans. It's just the pictures would have been helpful. And so there's the existing second floor open to below. And then right below that is the proposed well, I presume that walk-in closet's in there now. And you can see the walk-in closet's as big as the master bedroom.
Sarah, if you can go to the plan that I sent you, that actually shows the walk-in closet at the size it got built, which was about half as big as that one.
Oh, okay. It's changed. Okay. See, I didn't know
Yeah,
it
because the
changed.
ceiling height was so low, they shortened
Okay.
the room up a little bit.
That will be helpful.
Yeah, so you can see what.
Okay. That's a lot better. I didn't realize that because that was shown as a pretty good sized room, almost bigger than the master bedroom. I just wanted the board to be aware of it.
Yeah, no, it has a sloped ceiling and it sort of goes
Yeah.
down as you walk into it, so it ends at the
That
I don't
seems
know
more
6-foot high
appropriate.
wall.
Mhm.
And then the rest remains open to the first floor. Okay.
When did this plan come in? I don't remember seeing this plan.
I sent it to you last Friday.
Okay. Did you send? I didn't see it myself, but that's fine. I just didn't see it. We've been busy. I've been out soil testing, so I wasn't. That's why when I started with the meeting, I wasn't familiar with the updates that were provided. So thank you, Chris. Appreciate that.
And Sarah, do you have the first floor plan? Yeah, okay. And so we have an office space. Yep, the living room, and then the family room is the area where we asked for that. For the steps to be added for the level change to make that one open, large open room. Okay. So I think we're at a point where we can make a motion. So that, yeah, let's go ahead. So I move that in order to approve the certificate of occupancy for this building permit, that in the basement space, the 6-foot glass doors be removed, that the cooking appliances in the kitchenette be removed to reduce the space to a wet bar only, that the full-length wall, which is roughly 2.5 feet long, at the base of the stairs containing the electrical be left, and that the wall that creates the currently creating the second room and dividing the half bathroom be reduced to a half wall no taller than 4 feet high. And we also will require that our health agent be allowed a walkthrough of the building for inspection. Did anybody want to move that motion?
So moved.
So so the motion is in order to have the old building permit apply to this new circumstance, they would need to make these changes.
Right, so the building
Within
permit
in the proposed.
Right, what they need to do to close out the existing permit, what modifications that the board has deemed necessary to comply with the previously approved plan. Does that make sense, Rebecca?
Yeah. I personally, on the Board of Health, I would rather say that it doesn't comply with the permit, or it does. And then they can make those changes and come back to us. We can tell them this is what we would feel complies, rather than having the Board of Health getting involved with construction. Yeah, you know what I mean. Is there a way to word it so we're talking about the previous authorization? I guess it sounds like you've done that. Thank you.
Well, I'm making the motion on the fly, so I don't know if I've worded it perfectly. That's why I take friendly amendments from my fellow board members.
Yeah.
Maybe just call it a revision to the basement floor plan.
Yeah. So, Sarah, when you go in and you make the motion read smoothly, please make sure it is a revision to the basement floor plan to comply with the previously approved building plan. As we noted, removal of the 6-foot glass doors, removal of the cooking appliances so that the kitchenette space is no more than a wet bar. The full wall at the base of the stairs containing the electrical can remain, and that a half wall no taller than 4 feet be created in the space between the half bath and what is currently identified as the game room, and that our health agent be allowed to inspect the space. Mark, you're thinking after this work is done?
Yeah, I would say after the work is done, and allow me to take pictures to share with the Board of Health at a future meeting, and I won't offer any final approval until the board sees those pictures.
Okay.
So given that our next meeting is January 8th, is that
7th.
I don't
7th.
Oh, 7th. Okay. Oh yeah, 7th. Right. Do you expect to have this work done? Would waiting for an absolute final word on the 7th be a problem for the owner and buyer?
I would just like to chime in. We live in Dover now. We've raised our 2 kids here. They're age 15 and 12 now. we do have a rate that we've locked in with the bank that works for us financially. And so every week we delay it, it costs us $1,750 to keep that rate. So, it's really hard for us financially. It's a burden every time, So I know we have to do what's good for the community and the health, and we're huge supporters of that. We're just 4 people, so we only coming from a 3-bedroom in Dover, so we only need the 2 bedrooms for our kids. That space in the basement, my daughter's super excited about. She can have her friends over to watch movies, and that's what it'll be used for. It's the hangout room for the teenagers. For us, obviously, you have to think long term. But yeah, there is a sense of urgency for us, just given the financial burden with this favorable rate lock. And as you know, the rates have gone up. So it would prohibit us really from being able to make this purchase if we couldn't keep our rate. And so I would just ask for, I don't know what can be done, but anything that can be done just to help our family, that would be really appreciated.
And on that
So,
note, I'd be glad to go out once I'm told depending on the vote of the board, but I'd be glad to go out after all that has been completed, take the pictures, and once that's done, whenever the next meeting is, share that with the board for their final review and approval.
Although I would be inclined to be okay with, Mark, if you go out and it matches what we've discussed here tonight.
Sure.
And frankly, to me, even the doors coming out and the half wall being cut down but not finished off, I think would also be an indication that the upper part of the wall was gone.
How about the kitchen, Darryl?
And the kitchen too being adjusted. So, but I don't know how fast they can get that done, but if they can get it done soon, then that means that with you being able to review it,
yep,
they could possibly move ahead sooner than January 7th is my concern. So,
sure. Yep,
you
fine.
do a lot on our behalf. And if it doesn't meet your approval, those things haven't happened, then, that's a different issue. But if it
Sure.
does appear to be done, then I would be comfortable.
It's fine. I'll go as fast as the contractor can go to make these changes if they are so voted.
But I think the rest of the board should weigh in on whether they're comfortable with putting that in your hands, because you have done that in the past as long as it meets what we've discussed.
I'll go first. I'm absolutely comfortable authorizing the agent to sign off on this permit if what he sees upon inspection is consistent with the determination of the board this evening. If there are questions or concerns where things do not seem like they are, if we've tried to be as detailed as possible here, if there are questions or concerns, then it will have to come back to us on January 7th. Otherwise, Mark, I'm fine authorizing you to.
That's fine. And I'll share the pictures no matter what with the 2 co-chairs, and I'm sure everything will go fine, but I can only go as fast as the contractor.
Yeah. Let's just make sure that the rest of the board is okay with authorizing Mark. Diana, yes, no?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Steve, yes, no?
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're respectful of Mark's time as well. I know it's the holiday season.
Yeah.
If Mark's got the time to do this, sure, I'm fine with it.
I completely agree. And Rebecca, would you, I recognize that this motion is inconsistent with your position, and so I understand if you don't want to weigh in on this question. Would you be comfortable authorizing the agent to make that determination?
Yeah, I just don't think that especially, you're adding a whole bunch, 10 people for a party, that basically increases septic use. So it's exactly the reason that this ends up working that way. But so I would not agree with that. Sorry.
Okay. That's totally understand and respect your position. All right. So small modification to the motion is that our agent be allowed to inspect upon completion of the work, and if consistent with the determination of the board, authorize the closing of the permit on behalf of the board in a timely fashion. Do I need to restate the motion, or does everyone have it okay?
I have it okay.
Okay, excellent.
So moved.
Perfect.
So moved.
Seconded.
All right. Further discussion from board? Hearing none.
Daryl Beardsley, aye.
Steve Constantine, aye.
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Rebecca Honeywell, nay.
Okay. Thank you everyone for the dialogue this evening. I appreciate that this remained a cooperative experience, even though maybe not everyone experienced it that way, but I appreciate that. And to both the buyer and the seller, I wish you luck. I know that there is nothing more stressful than the transfer of a property. So good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Aye.
Thank you, Chris, for coming and weighing in with your experiences.
Thanks for having me. Have a good rest of the.
Thank Chris.
All right. Going back to our agenda, I believe that was everyone here for a specific agenda item. So now we have a couple of items under chair's business. We've concluded our agent's business, and we have a number of permits to approve this evening. Before our brains get real fuzzy, why don't we do the other stuff? Let's go through. I'm going to take this slightly out of order. Let's go ahead and actually, we'll go ahead and take it in order. There's no reason. So let's do the first item under chair's business, an update on the new environmental health agent through shared services. I believe both Daryl and Sarah attended the meeting where the new environmental agent was introduced. So one of you want to give us an overview of who he is? And
Sure. So he's with Needham, based in Needham. And he does seem to have a wide breadth of experience with being an agent on a variety of topics, housing, and some well and septic experience. Maybe not credentialed in all of that just yet. I can't recall Sarah. And she can weigh in. Food inspections also is something that he might be able to help with, and a place where that could be particularly advantageous for us is that if there is something that is an urgent issue related to a food establishment, provided that there's no conflict with something else that this person might be working on, he might be able to come over and help us out right in town. So whereas Tom has his obligations to his full-time job, so cannot necessarily drop everything and come to Sherborn midday. So that's the quick summary, is that it is another resource for us.
so he's, what's his name?
J something.
Sarah, do you recall his name?
Yes, I don't know how to pronounce it. He's only ever introduced himself as Jay, but I can.
Can you spell his last name for us?
Yes.
Thank you.
Usmonov.
Uzmanov?
Perhaps that sounds right.
Usmonov. Okay. Jay Uzmanov. And so Daryl, he currently is a certified food inspector.
Yes.
Okay. He's a certified housing inspector?
He's doing housing inspections, so
okay, I would hope so then.
I don't remember his resume either.
Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe
to distinguish him from others.
And most is he currently a soil evaluator or going to be certified? Anyone know?
He is not a soil evaluator, and I'm sure he's on the list to join the class, but it's a very long list.
Yeah, I think there's at least, maybe there's been a year wait list. Title V inspector, or I mean, you said that he has experience with wells and septics. I'm just trying to figure out what we can
Right.
use him for tomorrow.
again, we've talked to other folks, and there's some crossover in my mind as to which credentials apply to whom. So,
Okay, sounds good. Oh, that's true. You have confounding.
but
Okay.
I recall that he did not sound averse to well and septic work, provided he has the credentials.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Well, wonderful. I know they've been looking for someone to fill that position for quite a few months, and so it's wonderful that they have someone that they're excited about.
And if
But
I can add, if he wants to go out as well as Sarah, if they want to go out in the field with me to learn a little bit about soil evaluation, they're more than welcome to. I did that with two previous employees of Charles River. So I'd be glad to do it with anyone that's interested.
Yeah,
and I did offer that opportunity, standing offer from the town of Sherborn for anyone.
There will be some cold days. I'll just warn whoever wants to go out with me. We've been out the past 2 weeks and it's been interesting, is all I'll say. Very cold.
Dress warm.
Bring your hand warmers. Excellent. Well, that's wonderful news in the right direction. Let's move down to the second item, which is the appointment of the new burial agent. As everyone here knows, we had previously appointed our town clerk, Jackie Morris, to be our burial agent, which has been a standing practice for quite a few years. Given that Jackie is retiring or has retired, that position, she has kind of stayed in an interim position. Through evaluation, Sarah determined that this is something that she would actually be able to take on in her administrator role. She has had a transition meeting with Jackie. She's also undergoing training through, I believe, Train MA for the information she needs to become the burial agent. And Sarah, do you want to say anything about what it is to be the burial agent or anything else that we should know as a board before we appoint you to this position?
I did finish the burial agent training last week, and Jackie is interimly retired, so she is still around to answer any questions. And if anybody has any questions about what the burial agent actually does, I can answer them, but it is kind of a weird position to explain. So, but if anyone does have any specific questions, essentially, yes, Steve.
How many cemeteries does the town have?
So it's not about cemeteries, it's about if someone dies in Sherborn, it doesn't matter where they live. It just matters if they live in Sherborn or die in Sherborn. So, for example, if someone is in a car accident in Sherborn and it is fatal, then the burial agent does have to sign off on that to confirm the address of the accident. Similarly, if they live in Sherborn but say pass away in a hospital in Newton, the burial agent still has to sign off on that to confirm all of their information, and things like that. And there's a lot of people involved in it, and Sherborn is actually called something called an opt-out town or an opt-in town or an opt-out town. One of the two that essentially means people can still get buried in a timely manner without approval from the burial agent. A lot of towns in Massachusetts are like that, where they can still get a burial permit without the burial agent approval, if that makes sense.
So that burial permit is not just for Sherborn, it would get issued if they passed away in Sherborn, but it would be used anywhere they get buried. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I had a completely different idea of the role. I thought it just had to do with cemeteries we had and making sure all that was done right. Okay.
No, that's the cemetery commission. Technically, I think now I am a part of that, but it's a little bit different. I've learned how to use the software. It's called Maverick, and I've learned what to do if someone does pass away and I am required to step up as the burial agent. Our next step is learning about sort of if that requires anything else from me in town, which to my knowledge it doesn't. Jackie says it doesn't, but I'm gonna double check with her anyway.
Okay.
And then the other tricky part of that, I guess, for you, Sarah, or really for us as a whole, because we can't expect you to always be available 24/7, 365. So is maybe whether shared services has anyone that could step into that role.
It's
You're
not a
trying to
regional
actually have a
position.
vacation or something.
It's not a regionalized position. If I were to go on vacation, I would have to deputize someone in town hall to do it. Assuming by the time that I would go on a vacation, there we would have a town clerk who would be able to do it. This is really
Okay,
just
good.
me. So previously it was Jackie and Tony, who is the assistant town clerk. He can still do it now, but it's not a
Okay, good.
regionalized process. So it's by municipality.
Okay. Further questions? All right. In that case, I move that we appoint our Board of Health Administrator, Sarah Lappin, to be the board's burial agent.
So moved.
So moved.
Seconded.
Second.
Hearing no further discussion.
Daryl Beardsley, aye.
Steve Constantine, aye.
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Rebecca Honeywell, aye.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking that on, Sarah. It is nice to kind of bring that in-house. It's always been kind of a mystery to me. All right. We're moving on under Chair's business to number 3, to the authorization of the agent for Lot 6R 65 Farm Road. So the board is aware on December 10th, we received an application for a new build well and septic for what is being deemed Lot 6R at 65 Farm Road. We have to date been authorizing an agent. It's consistently been Stantec to be serving as our agent for review of the well and septic application. And I would propose I've been very satisfied with Stantec, that we continue to use Stantec for the review of this well and septic application. Is anyone opposed to using Stantec as our agent for this review? Okay, then I move that we appoint Stantec to serve, or not appoint, authorize Stantec to serve as our agent for the well and septic review at Lot 6R 65 Farm Road.
So moved.
Seconded.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none.
Daryl Beardsley, aye.
Steve Constantine, aye.
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Rebecca Honeywell, aye.
And I want to be careful that we stick to our agenda, but I just want to give the board a little context. So to date, what has been presented to our board for the project at 65 Farm Road is we have seen and approved a 5-bedroom home on Lot 4. We have seen and approved a 5-bedroom home on Lot 3. We have seen and approved a 8-bedroom home on Lot 7, all of which share a common driveway linking them as a project. Lot 6R would continue to share what is a common driveway. The developer, Bob Murchison, has indicated to us that he is going to be changing this project. We have already received an application for a revision to the previously approved plan for Lot 5, reducing the house from 8 bedrooms down to 7. And the question there is he's proposing to do this without a redesign of the system. And so we are following up on that to get some more information for the board about that process. He is also proposing and has not, please correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, has not submitted an application for revision yet. That lot 4, which is the lot closest to Farm Road, that lot no longer be accessed via the common driveway. And instead that lot will have a driveway accessed directly from the road. There would be an easement required for that common driveway to cross the lot for lot 4. And in order to inform the board as we make decisions about the project and the status of this, we have inquired to and are seeking guidance about if removing the access from the common driveway and the existence of an easement sufficiently reduce or subtracts that lot from the project. We're trying to make sure we understand some of the background to that. So what we have in front of us currently, as it stands, is a project that triggers our 2,000 gallon threshold. We have been told that the project is going to be modified so that in aggregation, it will total 1,980 gallons, one bedroom shy of the 2,000 gallon trigger for EHIR. We are going to follow up with the developer to make sure that proposed revision to lot 4 is in fact pending. Until that time, the same process that we have done consistently, which is we can only adjudicate what is before us. What is before us now is a project exceeding our 2,000 gallon threshold. So that is the update. I hope that we have more information to give you by our next meeting, given that we have already authorized Stan Tech to be the reviewer for what is lot 5 at 65 Farm Road, and we now have a revision to that plan. We determined that we did not need to authorize Stan Tech again for further review since we've already authorized them. But we had not authorized an agent for this 6R lot. So that is the status. And I hope I did not get too far off of this, but I wanted to give the board a little bit of background of what is going on at that project. Okay, that concludes our chair's business. And so under other business, we have a number of permits, but we also have an update on the budget process. Before we get to the housekeeping items, Sarah, did you want to give us an overview of where things are with the budget process?
Sure. So we had our budget meeting. I'm just gonna pull it up on my screen just so I can look at my notes. We had our budget meeting with the town administration. So that was the town administrator, Jeremy, the assistant town administrator, Diane, and the director of finance, Deb Seafring, where we went over our budget line by line and we discussed many, many things. Particularly the points of concern that they raised. Also, Daryl and Steve were there. The administration from the town's points of concern were relating to the administrator salary and wondering if that is reflective of I'll just share my screen here. They were curious is this number was reflective of what the intended salary is to be at the end of this fiscal year, given the compensation plan for the administrator, who's me. And that is a discussion with the co-chairs where we determined that this is representative of that number. They were concerned about the food inspector costs. So what I've done is I've gone through our current food inspector's timesheets, determined what administrative work can be delegated to the office staff that is full-time, me, and figuring out where we can cut back so that way we can get his average number of hours down. And also a concern was that the food permits are not bringing in sufficient fees to cover this work. So we have once again gone through, taken a very in-depth look at our fee schedule. The fee schedule that was presented to the board originally was based on the this column here of the budget. So what we have done is we have now based it on this column of the budget, which has raised some of the fees, allowing us to better justify these salaries for the food inspector as well as for the health agent. And the supplemental health agent salary, we looked at, I can show you all of the math that was done really quickly if you guys would like. Essentially, we figured, by we, I mean me, I went through and looked at all of the part-time per diem agent salaries in Eastern Massachusetts that are actively posted right now, took an average of those, did some work with the invoices that we have received from Stantec thus far this year and last year to determine an average number of hours per week to calculate the actual expected payment that we'll need for a supplemental agent, which is how we got to the 4,500 number. And I have been in contact with shared services, and they are changing some of their policies in terms of memberships. So I'm still waiting to hear back on the MAHB membership, but as for MHOA and MEHA, those memberships, the primary benefit of the MHOA membership is early conference registration, and shared services will continue to cover conference registration fees and all of those associated fees. And the MEHA conference fees are also duly covered by shared services. And to my knowledge, our MEHB membership is still covered by shared services. So that's going to have to be a discussion because they're individual memberships between the staff, if that is something that we would like to continue. Again, the memberships don't preclude us from using the resources that they have available, but that is something I just found out during this meeting. So I did put $300 in as a line item here, but this is not final, this number right here, nor is it 100% what it will look like. So if you don't remember, the budget that the board voted and approved was a total of $214,884. And this is our new proposed budget number, a little bit lower. And another thing that we are looking at right now is, our revolving fund and special revenue funds. I'm still waiting to hear back from the technical assistance program called RISE for the opioid abatement funds. They can take anywhere from 1 to 5 business days to get back to you. So they have another 2 business days before I call again. And then as for the immunization revolving fund, that's a little bit more complicated in terms of restrictions on that money, what we've used it for in the past and what we could use it for in the future. And that again is going to require a conversation with the administration as well. So if anyone wants to look at my information, I can show it to you now, but this is where we are at.
Yeah, it's always an evolution as we go through the season. Board members, are there any questions? A big thank you to Sarah and Daryl and Steve for stepping in and doing this. It's a long process. Right, thank you, Sarah, for the update. I'm sure there will be more updates as we enter into the new year and we get into more of the advisory discussions as well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Let's go through. We have a number of permits to approve. Let's go in order. Let's start with the disposal works installer permits. for 2026. Mark or Sarah, are these all renewals or any of them? I'll let Sarah pull up the agenda.
I
Are there
believe
any?
so.
They're all renewals. Do you want me to
Mhm.
list all of the, would it help if I read off the names?
Sure.
Or, well, actually, hang on. Sarah's gonna pull them up. It's even better than me reading it.
They are all renewals.
They're all renewals.
I
Excellent.
believe so. I'll just scroll through quickly. If I see one that isn't a renewal, I'll let you know.
And Mark, for any of these, Mark or Sarah, have we had any, do we have any concerns? Has there been anything from homeowners about any of these installers or engineers or anything that would?
At this
give
point, I
pause?
think there's one of them that I've been asking for information in respect to a property needing their final grade as built. Um, give them another chance. I feel they may just keep forgetting. I've sent emails to them, and I can address that with the co-chairs. And if we are having trouble, I would say then we can withhold their permit, maybe not to issue it. It's BIG, just so you know, the first one you see there.
Okay.
It's
And
related to
so,
40 Woodland, just so you know the address. I've been asking for 2 years now for the final grade as built and their installer certification. And I talked to Gene about this, and I think that permit should be withheld until we get that information.
okay, we'll pull that one off.
I do not like doing that, but I think that's the ultimate decision that has to be made.
Yeah. The
I
rest
think
of
that's a
the,
reasonable thing because that documentation is important and it's
Yeah,
part of our job. So
yeah, exactly.
you can't ignore that any longer, I don't think, or give grace period for that.
I would just ask on BIG that it be withheld until we receive the information that's required for 40 Woodland that they installed 2 years prior. And they have been notified at least 2 or 3 times for requesting that in writing.
and any of the other installers that we have up for renewal this evening. Irving Trucking Company, Scott Septic, Nicholas Geneseo of
Yeah.
Marlboro, Fred Swain of Marlboro, J.G. Smith of East Walpole, and W.C. Rowe Corporation. Any concerns or conditions for their permits?
I wouldn't suggest any. I haven't seen. I think the two of Marlboro work for Wind River, but they just do distribution boxes. But they're all fine. Even BIG is a fine installer. It's just we need information from them. So I'd recommend approval of all of them, and that BIG be withheld until we receive the information for 40 Woodland.
Okay. So why don't we do this? We're gonna make a separate motion for BIG. For the
Okay.
rest, can we approve those as a kind of a consent agenda, or do we need to make a motion for each?
You could just say them all you already have and just make a motion to approve, in my view, and that way they're all approved in one
So
vote.
why don't we, I
Yeah,
will do that
since
as kind
they're
of
all
a,
the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
all renewals. I
But
mean,
I'm
they're listed
going,
that way. So.
perfect. But I'm gonna separate out BIG because that one's gonna have a condition.
Yeah.
All right, so I move to approve the disposal works installer permits for the 2026 season for Irving Trucking Company of Millis, Scott Septic of Hopkinton, Nicholas Geneseo of Marlboro, Fred Swain of Marlboro, J.G. Smith of East Walpole, and W.C. Rowe Corporation.
So moved.
Seconded.
Hearing no further discussion.
Darrell Beardsley, aye.
Steve Constantine, aye.
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Rebecca Honeywell, aye.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the disposal works installer permit renewal for 2026 for BIG Excavation Corporation of Walpole, conditional to receipt of the final grade as-built for 40 Woodland Street, as well as their installer certification
Correct.
provided to our department?
So moved.
Seconded.
Hearing no further discussion.
Darrell Beardsley, aye.
Steve Constantine, aye.
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Rebecca Honeywell, aye.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Moving down, thank you. Moving down to the tobacco and nicotine delivery permits. We have two. I wonder if we can also do these as, should we do these as a consent or just do them each individually? We have Sherborn Fuel and Sherborn Wine and Spirits for the tobacco. Daryl
I
or
think
Mark?
we can do them together.
Perfect. I like that. Mark or Sarah, has anyone heard any concerns from Tom on their inspections? I believe I've seen them both and they are now adequate. Any concerns have been resolved?
No concerns I've heard.
Okay, I think there was a few loose ends on one of them, but I believe that has been resolved. In that case, do I have a motion to approve the tobacco and nicotine delivery product sales permits for 2026 for Sherborn Fuel and Sherborn Wine and Spirits?
With the friendly amendment or commentary, it's not even an amendment that we seem to make each year, that we'd really wish that it wasn't the Board of Health who was approving the sale of
I was going to add that in the
materials, but
discussion.
anyway. So moved.
I guess seconded, but yes.
Okay. And I would add to that discussion point is, yes, I wish the Board of Health didn't approve these, and smoking is bad for you. All right, any further comments? Hearing none.
Daryl Beardsley, aye.
Steve Constantine, aye.
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Rebecca Honeywell, aye.
Excellent. Moving on to the food establishment permits, we have two before us. One is for Sweet Meadow Feed and Grain, and one is for Sunshine Farm. I know I had previously seen an inspection report for Sweet Meadow. I don't know if the concerns there have been resolved. I don't think I've seen a follow-up. Sarah,
Yeah,
have you
there were a
checked?
number of issues about important ones, hand washing and some
Yeah.
other issues.
And they are on they're in a situation where they have to use a little tank underneath the hand wash sink, and then that water gets disposed in the porta toilet. They do not have a septic system or running water on, well, they have a well, but they don't have a septic system on site. And so with that said, they are limited to food retail. And until they get either sewer or a septic system on site, they're very limited to what they can do there, and mostly retail packaged food.
Yeah, I think there were some issues about the ready availability of the water.
Yeah, I
Sweet Meadow.
believe you're correct.
I don't know if that's been resolved yet. Sarah, are you aware if that has been?
This is the most recent inspection report that I have for Sweet Meadow. And Tom said that, I think he said that they look okay.
Okay.
So this is from 11/23 food safety inspection report. The most recent one I have is from 11/29. I'm not seeing anything more recent than that. I'm not sure if anyone else has one that they wanted to look over.
Can you
Maybe
just
it
scroll
was
down?
resolved already.
Yeah, they might have been resolved.
The
one that
violations
I was
here
looking
were corrected.
at. Yep. That was, I had seen the original inspection report before it was corrected. I wanted to make sure it was corrected before we issued them a permit. Okay, excellent. And I don't recall seeing a inspection report for Sunshine Farm, so I'm gonna defer to Mark or Sarah if there are any concerns there, or if Tom has expressed any concerns.
I have not been in communication on that property on Sunshine Farm, so I'm not for sure.
Nope, their last inspection was November and they had no violations.
Excellent.
Or they had one. But it has since been corrected, it looks like.
Now you can see why I like pictures. They
Yeah.
do,
Yes,
they say a lot. They really do.
it's very, very helpful.
Mhm.
Okay, excellent. So it looks like everything, any concerns have been corrected. All right, in that case, I'm going to do these as a consent as well. Do I have a motion to approve the food establishment permits for 2026 for Sweet Meadow Feed and Grain and Sunshine Farm?
So moved.
So moved. Second,
Hearing no further discussion.
Daryl Beardsley, aye.
Steve Constantine, aye.
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Rebecca Honeywell.
Oh, Rebecca, you cut off at the end. Was that an aye?
Yes.
Okay, good.
You hear me?
Just for the, we got to make sure we get the vote. Excellent, thank you. All right, we are ticking along. This is excellent. Meeting minutes, we had one set from December 3rd. I submitted a couple of very, very minor, I would call them substantial edits. I believe Sarah had redistributed that with my edits in red. Did we have at least a majority of the board who was able to review these and would be prepared to vote on them tonight? And did anyone have edits?
I submitted some minor edits as well.
I did too.
Okay, excellent. Anything that would substantively change the content of the minutes? Beyond, I mean, where it would read dramatically different.
No.
No, not dramatically.
Okay. And Sarah, have you received all of those edits? You may not have had time to check your email.
No, Daryl, I'm not seeing your edits.
All right, I'll check. Maybe the send didn't work if the internet blinked out at just the right time. So I will check, see if it ended up back in drafts, but
Okay.
it was
but-
sometime earlier this afternoon. But that's right, I'll check at the end of the meeting.
And so at our last discussion, Daryl, you had made kind of big sweeping changes to the flow and the dialogue. Is that part of what you submitted today or not even close?
Oh, no. Heavens, no. I wasn't going to do that again. So
Okay, so sounds good. And these are my
in the
edits.
attempt to streamline the goal,
Yeah.
the prior goal. So anyway, did
Excellent.
not do that.
Okay.
They changed convention to conventional for septic. I know that was one of the big changes I made. So.
Yeah, and I made the change at the beginning that the Presby system does not have a different design flow than any other system. It is 110 gallons per bedroom, regardless if it's Presby or another IA system. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes for December 3rd, 2025 with the submitted edits, grammatical edits?
So moved.
So moved. Second,
Hearing no further discussion.
Daryl Beardsley, aye.
Steve Constantine, aye.
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Rebecca Honeywell, aye.
Excellent. We're on track for my goal, folks, which is 9 o'clock. I feel very satisfied. We meet again in 2026.
Yes.
Who knew? So for January 7th, do we have any variance hearings? This has been a long period of time with no hearings.
I am not aware of one. Sarah, you might be. I do know that we have one for January 21st. That will be 109 Nason Hill Road. We'll go over that when that time comes, but it's for a well that was there, but they moved a property line, so they need a waiver.
No variance hearings to my knowledge.
Okay. Yeah, we would know about them by now for sure. I think that depending on what is before us by that meeting, we may have further discussion on 65 Farm Road. Let's see. I would say, Sarah, if for whenever we are at a place to, if you need more feedback from the board about the permit fees, we can add that in. I would also expect actually, no, I don't expect there's going to be much happening between now and January 7th. So probably nothing on the budget.
And like I noted, I will give the co-chairs an update on my walkthrough if it's ready at 54 Spywood. I won't put it on the agenda unless needed. So I'll just give you an update, the two co-chairs, if there's no issues.
Yeah. I saw that it was tentatively on this agenda. We might have 81 Prospect. I believe there's a building application.
Yeah, their septic system, just so you know, they originally was designed by a different engineer. The new engineers were not familiar with the local regulations, so I had to send out a deficiency checklist. I went over those deficiencies with the new engineer, and I know they're waiting on conservation as well. They were told today by the conservation agent that they need to get to their meeting as well. So there's a couple pending items going on with that plan.
Okay. So may or may not be ready by the 7th, probably. Why not? Okay, and Sarah, just so we have a sense, since we have New Year's Day is on Thursday prior to the meeting, when you'll need to have the agenda posted by midday on January 5th. So you need, ideally, do you want us sending you stuff on January 2nd if need be, or definitely by Monday morning on the 5th? What would you like from us?
We have to, it doesn't say, it says that for meetings for January 6th, you have to have the agendas in by December 31st. Because town hall is closed on Fridays. So to be safe, I would say December 31st is probably when I'll submit the agenda.
And then you can make alterations on Monday the 5th as needed. Okay.
I would say that's probably for the best, just to keep things safe.
Okay. Good, we all know. Excellent. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
Second.
My only discussion point is I hope everyone has a good holiday period in New Year's.
Same to all of you.
Yeah.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
All
Thanks.
right.
Have a good day.
And so, hey, we have to move that motion.
Yeah,
We moved it, we
did.
discussed it, and now we have to vote it.
Darrell
Okay.
Beardsley, aye.
Thank
Pete
you.
Constantine, aye.
And Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Rebecca Honeywell, aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have
Take
a
care,
great
everyone. Happy holidays.
Okay.
Bye.
And
Bye.
Sarah, I'll send you the email that was stuck in draft. So
Okay.
you get it in a minute.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.